Welcome to Calabasas, California.
Yes.
We're here talking with Steve and Aram of the band Kings and Astronauts, and they're about to release their new EP, Enough.
Yes, we are.
Have you had enough?
We have. We really did. One album in and we're done.
Yeah. Just gonna retire after this one?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a hit on a Target commercial or something.
Yeah, you know, if you get one of those car commercials, though, that can pay, like, for the rest of your life.
We'll
let you know.
In any case, I'm Grant, a professional, I guess, music lover. Aficionado. Professional enough to conduct this interview.
Twitter him.
But, but no, me and Steven are acquaintances from work.
Absolutely.
From work in the streets. The rough streets of...
He's a tough pimp. He's a ball buster.
Yeah.
There's no breaks.
You know, Steven was really... He was tall, but he was my best earner. A lot of people they like that exoticness.
I like to give 110% anything I'm doing. So.
I can tell, which is why you're in this band and why your songs are awesome.
Thank you.
So to that, I mean, I guess, we'll just start with the cliche questions first, but why the name of your band and why the name for this EP?
It's a good question. Well, the name of the band, that took forever to figure out. It's like one of the worst things to do in a band is to find a name. We had a bunch of running names and working titles that were terrible. Mm-hmm. But we just wanted something different, something that would stand out, roll off the tongue. I think some of our old band names weren't our favorite, but we just kind of rolled with them. And so it was kind of like the idea of just some dualities, like kings, astronauts, like things are completely different in time and also so revered. You know, everybody looks at astronauts like kings, you know what I mean? In some respect of they've traveled to outer space and whatnot. And some people look at kings and, they'll never be in that position or whatever. So it's kind of interesting to throw those two together. So when we kind of came up with it, we tried different variations and that one seemed to click. So both Arm and I liked it. We asked a bunch of our friends. They liked it. And cool. So they worked. And then Enough was our, it's going to be one of our singles on the album. So it seemed to be the one a lot of people that we were, showing songs to really liked. So we were like, you know what, we'll make that, one of our stronger tracks and title it. Yeah.
Brand recognition. I like it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, as far as that, like, that 50-50 approach to, like, writing songs, like, does that come down to, like, lyrics as well? Is there one of you that, like, kind of tends to take the lead on it, or...
I write the lyrics for all the songs, and I go through them with Aram and ask him what he thinks and stuff, and we do a lot of stuff like, what does this song feel like, or, sometimes Aram will talk about something that we want to write about in the future, kind of keep that in mind when writing songs too. So if it's a certain situation he's been in, or I've been in, and we kind of pull from both those, or one or the other.
Every song has a meaning.
So I guess, like, elaborating on that, each song, like, has a meaning thing. Again, when it comes to lyrics specifically, like, do you approach that from, like, there's a story you want to tell, a subject you want to explore, or, like, are you looking for lyrics that match up with the sound or the feel of a song? That's a broad question, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, generally, in the way we've been doing it on this EP, is we kind of write all the music first. Some of the songs I would vocally come up with melodies, or we would listen to them in the car together, and Arm would throw some melodies out, and we'd kind of work based off of that to get the structure of the song, and then it's kind of whatever the song lyrically said to me, and I kind of would just say, okay, this kind of gives me this vibe, and I would write off of that, and then take a situation and kind of get something like a basic idea of emotion from it, and say, okay, this is the storyline, this is the subject matter, and then build on that. And a lot of the times when we go in and write the music, we try to bring in whatever we're going through at that time and really create the kind of music from that emotion we're feeling, whether we're having a bad day, good day, we're going through a tough time or a good time, or we feel energetic that night. We try to really pull from how we feel. Arm's a very emotional player, so when he feels something, he puts it into playing the guitar. So, and I do the same with drums, so it works out really well for us.
So I'm actually also other, kind of basic question, but like, how did you guys meet? How did this band start?
Wow. We met in nursing school.
2007.
Cool.
2007.
All right.
Nursing
Yeah.
school, yeah.
So we both were in the same program, and he approached me. He said, you want to play bass? I'm looking for a bass player.
Yeah.
Me and my drummer were looking for a bass player, and I said, man, I play bass, but I'm not in a band. I'm not very serious about this. You guys are, I know you guys dedicated, want to go to band, but I'm just playing for fun.
Yeah, and what's funny is when I first jammed with Arm, I actually jammed with him as a drummer unprofessionally with our friend, and it was the first time we ever played together. Was me playing drums, him playing bass, and another guy playing guitar. And then, and I wasn't very serious at drums at the time. It was just something to do. They needed a drummer, and I was like, hey, let's jam. And we did a couple months of playing, and then me and him kind of stopped playing with each other, but obviously saw each other in class. We liked the same kind of music. And then I started another band with a friend of mine playing drums and me playing guitar and singing, which is what I traditionally do. And we formed a band from there and moved on to another band together. And I did a solo project for a little bit, and then we came back together to do this one.
Say 2007. That's a decade in the making.
Yeah.
This band.
Yeah. And Arm and I have been playing on and off together that whole time, and it's been he was the only consistent member that didn't want to kill each other in the process. So,
Well, that's important.
yeah, we ended up staying together, and then we tried a three-piece, and I decided to change it up and play drums and sing, and the three-piece didn't work out, and we ended up just coming up with the idea of like, let's jerry-rig his bass to sound like a guitar and bass at the same time, and try something different while we were bored and just passing time. And then we came up with some songs and realized we could do this.
So you've already like kind of mentioned it in part, but the setup for your band is kind of unique.
Yeah.
It's like kind of what was it? Unless you've been already just answered it, but like what was it about this approach? First of all, I guess like one for the clarity of your audience, like what is that approach, your setup that you both do, and then like what was it that drew you to that made you feel like this is something we can be serious about and can build like real songs with?
We actually started writing some stuff, and since I played guitar most of my life and sang, I said, why don't we just throw some pedals on your bass and see what we can do, in the meantime while we're kind of looking for a guitarist. And then I kind of said, why don't we try some new pedals, and we started building a rig for him, and started trying out new pedals, delays and reverbs and distortions and pitch raisers and all these things. And then one of my roommates came up to me and showed me a whole bunch of two-piece bands that were kind of doing similar things, and we realized we could absolutely do it. I mean, the White Stripes did it for how many years, and there's a lot of two-piece bands out there right now. So we said, let's try to write some songs and see what happens. And then we just kind of got a little scientific with the rigs, and now we're actually trying to incorporate some keys, have Arm jump on synthesizers, maybe one day have me do drums and synthesizers and vocals, and try to see what we could come up with and change things up.
That's coming up next.
That's the future.
Yeah.
We're always
Yes.
looking ahead.
So who did you record the album with?
We were produced by Michael Raphael, and he's a producer friend of ours who's worked on a couple albums with us. I did a solo project with him. And
The previous band.
our last band, The Atrophies, we did with him, and we've known him for quite a while, I think like 5 or 6 years. So we decided to go with this EP with him and see how it turned out. And I know he was definitely skeptical at first, having two people. We've always brought in three-piece bands with him, and he's used to working with bigger bands. And slowly, once he kind of saw what we were trying to go for and some of the material we're bringing in, he understood what we're aiming for, and we liked what came out. So it worked out really well. It was kind of a safe move for us because we knew him.
How long have you been recording for?
What, 6 months already?
Almost 6 months.
Almost 6 months,
Almost
yeah.
6 months.
So almost 6 months, and we're hopefully going to release it in a couple months.
Going into it, what was it, just to try and phrase this correctly, like what made you feel like now was the time to do it?
Well, we've been playing for a long time with just two of us, just trying to trying to navigate how to make music that way. And so we always had in mind to record. So it was kind of like when we felt, we wrote something like 30 songs, I think.
Yeah, 30 ideas. And
We had 30 ideas, and then from there we kind of weeded them down to 6, and we just decided, these are the 6 we're going to record with, and we were always kind of had that in mind. We had been playing probably a year and a half before actually hitting the studio, and just trying different sounds and trying to find our sound and how to do it correctly.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are in bands for any given length of time. In bands with friends, maybe they record something, maybe they don't. But this EP seems like a real serious attempt from you guys to try and make something of quality and try to get it out there and seen by people. So having known each other for so long, having played with each other for so long, like what made you feel like now was the time, that this was the right time for you guys to really go in on this and try and make it happen?
Well, I know anytime Arm and I have been in a project together, we've kind of always wanted to record. We enjoy the recording studio process. We always like making new music. And we have been playing together for about a year and a half before deciding we're ready to record. We had something like 30 ideas or so.
So yeah, again, what has been the most exciting or the most fun part about the recording process?
I think what was really exciting about this project is we didn't know how it would turn out. We'd never been in a 2-piece band. We've always had a guitarist, and just trying to see how much sound we could make with 2 people. What's the best songs we could write with just 2 of us? How can we fool the audience into thinking this is a legit band? And there's so many parts going on here, and there's so much dynamic that this sounds full. This sounds good. It sounds good to the ear, and being able to pull that off live. And I think just to see that, go from sitting in a studio and writing stuff together to actually getting it out on CD and recording and getting it out for everybody, I think was
Plus experimenting with new sounds.
Yeah, we had new sounds, new techniques. Arm's playing guitar on bass, essentially. He's always been a bass player, and usually I play guitar, so it's been weird to step back and be a drummer. So just to see how is it going to sound with us. Basically, both change instruments, except for I still sing.
So when this EP comes out, do you guys have, do you have like any intentions for like shows, a tour, anything like that, nationally?
Definitely shows.
Yeah.
Probably local shows, because we're nobody right now. And we're excited to get out there and just play. It's been a long time since we've played together. It's been a long time since you've performed, right? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while and we haven't performed, but definitely looking forward to it.
To playing. And actually, when we finish this first EP, we're going back in the studio and knocking out the second EP while we're playing. So we want to kind of keep churning out material.
What is it about a song that like gets you excited? What is it that like when you hear a song is like the thing sonically or whatever that like speaks to you, and like gets you excited? Like, oh, this is like
Pumps me up. What pumps you up, Aaron?
Energy.
You like songs with energy?
Songs with energy.
Simple. I like that. Very straightforward. I like songs that sound different. I like to hear different things. So kind of when I hear too much of the same, I kind of get bored, and I want to hear something that's, maybe sonically is not as pleasant as it would be something else on the radio or something else streaming online, but maybe something that's I haven't heard before, I haven't heard in a long time, or something done differently. It's a lot of these garage bands and a lot of these bands out here from other countries or other parts of the world who are just doing their own styles, and just something that they're mix and mashing that sounds different and kind of catches my eye, but still has catchiness to it and nice and melodic and rock, and that's the kind of stuff that I like personally. That gets me excited.
Thank you so much, guys. Best of luck to you. Just for the camera, just remind them what your name is, what your album is, and when it's coming out.
We are Kings and Astronauts, and our album is Enough. It'll be out hopefully in a couple months here.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.